A standout for the Razorbacks on the defensive line the past few years, now getting ready to start his pro career. The NFL draft's coming up here in a few weeks. Jonathan Marshall is our guest here on Ruscin Zach. Jonathan, it's good to talk to you. How you doing today?
I'm pretty good, and you?
We're doing good. Glad you're got some time for us today. So the first thing I'm thinking about when I heard we were going to have you on is just what it took to get to last season with the shutdown, and then are we playing? Are we not playing? The schedule's changing. I mean, how, as one of the veterans on that team last year, I mean, how did you guys manage that situation? And it was crazy.
Really, everybody just put their head down, came to work, and did what our coach and believed in our coaches and did what they told us for us to be able to play.
When you guys go through a coaching change, and you went through a radical change, especially with defensive schemes. I want to ask you a little bit about, when the new coaches come in, and you're an older guy, and they've got to basically they almost have to re-recruit you and resell you on the idea of being a Razorback. I mean, what was that? What were those conversations like with Coach Pittman, with Coach Odom, your position coaches, all those guys? I mean, how did they sort of get you reinvigorated to go out and play the way you did last year?
Really, in coaching, all you got to do is have some players that believe in you, and we believed in them. So it helped us, with like building a connection and like just basically getting comfortable with them. And you always work harder and play harder for somebody you're comfortable with. So that was the biggest thing that helped last year with Coach Pittman and Coach Odom and my position coach.
We've seen videos of Barry Odom. I mean, he's wound a little tight. I mean, what's it like playing for a guy that, truly, he was incredibly innovative. You guys were kind of piecing things together, but what's it like playing for that guy, going into that meeting on Monday where you're just like, okay, what are we going to do this week to mess with an offense?
Really, you just had to pay attention and listen to him. He's very passionate about what he does, and he's going to make sure he put us in the right position to make plays.
We're talking with Jonathan Marshall here on Ruscin and Zach. You mentioned that just put your head down and go to work mentality. That seems like the mantra of a Sam Pittman and a Barry Odom as well. I mean, it seems like they were kind of the perfect leaders for that unusual year, because that's all you could do is just get from one day to the next.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely. Tell us about you. What when you're talking to these teams out there, what are some of the strengths? What do you bring to a potential roster?
Me, I always say I'm gonna help my team. If someone drafts me, I'm gonna help win the Super Bowl. Like I put my head down, work hard all the time. Everybody knows what they're going to get out of me, and that's pretty much it right there.
Is it frustrating for you? I mean, you see guys, and Ndamukong Suh's name just pops into my head. Plays the same position you do. I mean, you were doubled and tripled most of last year. Your numbers don't necessarily equal the production that you had. I mean, you're easily one of the most disruptive players on the. Grant Morgan's behind you making 1,000 tackles, and it's because you're eating up 3 or 4 blocks. When you're talking to NFL teams, do they recognize that?
Yes, sir.
So tell us a little bit, Jonathan, about this whole process from the pro day and just kind of what's the experience been like?
It's a fun but nervous experience, to be honest. Like I was training in Arizona, came down here, did my pro day in Arkansas, and now it's just like a waiting game, So it's basically it's just nervous, like because it's like everything's out of your control now. So it's like you did all you could do. Now you're just sitting here and waiting.
You had an incredible pro day. I've heard some stories about your pro day. In the aftermath of that, are you hearing from people right away saying, "Okay, you killed it"? I was reading the draft profile on you that said you went from a priority free agent to possibly as a late second day guy.
Yes, sir. That was just blessing of God, just believing that helped me a lot.
So we're talking with Jonathan Marshall here on Ruscin and Zach. Have you given any thought about how you're going to because you can't just sit there and wait by the phone. I mean, as you said, the nerves and everything. Are you going to be, I've heard of guys that go fishing while they wait, or go do whatever thing. Do you know what your draft experience is going to be like?
To be honest, it's probably just going to be sitting around the house waiting in front of the TV with my family. That's probably all we going to do for that. I didn't want to do too much because I'm like I said, I'm really nervous about it. So
I think everything I've read, I mean, you're going to get selected, whether it's day 2 or day 3. I was curious if you had a chance to talk to guys like Felipe or Rakeem about their experience. Are they having sort of the same nerves, the same experiences that you are?
Yes, sir. They are. I talked to Rakeem the other day. He's having a little bit of the same nervous issues I'm having.
Is it weird this time of year for a guy like you? I mean, the last couple of years you've gone through spring practice to not be on campus going through the spring kind of. I mean, do you miss it a little bit? I mean, I know you hated it when you were doing it, but now you're down in Texas. I mean, you're looking back, oh man, I should be up there with those guys.
I do miss it. I never hated it because it's always fun playing football and competing. But I do miss it. I'm gonna miss Fayetteville. I'm gonna miss the friends and all that stuff I made there, and I'm gonna miss the new staff. Like they were really good, and they helped a lot. But I am gonna miss it up there.
From the outside, for folks like us, I mean, it appears. I mean, we said all last year. It appears like Sam Pittman has this thing turned around. You're on the inside. I mean, you see, you went from one staff to another staff. I mean, is there really this seismic shift in culture and direction of this program that we kind of perceive from the outside?
Yes, sir. What y'all see on the outside is the exact same on the inside with this staff. So whatever y'all seeing is the same on the inside.
Yeah, that's kind of like these coaches are. I mean, they are real and genuine guys. There's in a world where there may be a lot of people that maybe tell you one thing and something else happens. Our experience with talking to Pittman is that he is just what you see is what you get there. He's just a regular guy, and I imagine that helps to connect with players too.
Yes, sir, it does.
Yeah.
Is there a team last year that, I mean, hindsight's 20/20, but is there somebody or maybe a guy you played against where man, I would love to get one more shot at that guy?
One more guy,
or team.
I would say Alabama.
Really?
I always want to. Yes, sir. I would want to get one more shot at them.
Okay, I mean, you've lined up against those guys. I mean, I that's the best offensive line I've ever seen. You've lined up and knocked heads with them. Are they as good as we thought they were?
They're well coached.
Yeah.
They're well coached. Yes, sir.
Yeah. That's well, I'm sure there's a lot of Razorback fans that wish you could go out there one more time against Alabama, but they're also wishing you a lot of success in the upcoming draft and with your upcoming career. Jonathan Marshall, our guest here on Ruscin and Zach. Thanks so much for stopping by today. We really appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
All right. Jonathan Marshall, our guest here on Ruscin and Zach. Easy guy to root for there. And again, I feel you said it there that it's not always in the stat sheet the way that he ruins opposing offensive game plans.
I mean, you think of highly productive defensive tackles. I mean, the first guy that pops into mind is a guy like Ndamukong Suh or Aaron Donald. Yeah. And he's not that kind of player. He is a true gap defender who just eats blocks. And, if you want to know why Grant Morgan and Bumper Pool and those guys have so many tackles, it's guys like him that eat 2 or 3 blocks, can get off block, can be really disruptive. I mean, he's as disruptive.
That's the word, disruptive.
Disruptive. Yeah. I mean, he's as disruptive a defensive tackle as I've ever seen.
Because that job is, and another thing I read, and you may have read the same thing, is he's not a nose. So when they get him in a 4-down front in the NFL, he's going to be a defensive tackle, and we'll see. He can have even more of an impact. Yeah, according to the experts.
Yeah, he's going to have to he's going to have to develop a pass rush, but it wasn't something that he was asked to do. Yeah. So it's not second nature to him to go and develop that pass rush ability. I mean, he's going to have to be one of those pocket collapsers. But I can tell you this: one of the first things I noticed in the spring game last year was that he could hold the point And, I mean, he was immovable at times. And it wasn't just Arkansas's offensive line struggling to move him. There were 10 teams last year that struggled to move Jonathan Marshall out of the way.
Yeah.
So I'm excited for him. I hope he gets. I hope he lands with a team that will use him and use him the way that you should.
Yeah.
He's got to gain a little bit of weight, but he's easy guy to root for.
Yeah, he was down a little bit from the program weight that they had. But yeah, that's something that can be done.